She.
Oh, Steve got the pie.
The pause that refreshes.
I'm about to advocate for same-sex marriage. It is something I feel strongly about, and I am going to argue with some religious influence. I am in no way trying to step on anybody's toes. I understand that this is a sensitive topic, and some of you may disagree. But I just want to thank you ahead of time for listening to my speech, no matter what your position on the topic is. Marriage, the goal of all couples. Every little girl pretends to get married, plays husband and wife with her Barbie and Ken dolls, and may even tell her parents, I'm going to get married. But what if later in life, this little girl grows up and decides she isn't interested in the opposite sex, but is in fact attracted to people of the same gender? Her parents, loving her no matter what, should want for her to have the same rights as a heterosexual couple, right? Same-sex couples deserve to have the same rights as all of us. The same rights I do to marry a man. A little background on myself. I once thought that people must choose to be gay, that certain things led up to someone deciding on whether they would be gay or not. As a Christian, it is also conflicting that my God would hate these people and send them to hell. But as soon as I came to realize that God doesn't hate anybody, He creates all of us and loves us the way we are. And even though I am sure some do, why would anybody choose to be gay? My coworker Ronnie posted on a Facebook status of mine, "Do you really think I chose to be gay? Do you think I woke up one morning and decided I wanted to be picked on and hated?" And that's when I knew I had looked at this topic all wrong. And I decided that as my rights are important to me, it was important for me to fight for the rights of same-sex couples. The problem we see here isn't that there isn't equality. The problem we see here is that there isn't equality. A civil union is not a marriage. It doesn't have the same benefits or entitle a spouse to certain privileges. In an article written by Kathy Bledge, Lesbian Life Guide, she points out, even though each state has its own laws around marriage, if someone is married in one state and moves to another, their marriage is legally recognized. But if someone has a domestic partnership, that union is recognized by some states and not others. Some states have even ruled that they do not have to recognize civil unions performed in other states because their states have no such legal category. So, if same-sex couples are allowed to marry, their marriage should be able to stand in any state they choose to live in. In the same article, Kathy says, civil unions are not recognized by the federal government, so couples would not be able to file joint tax returns or be eligible for tax breaks or protections the government affords to married couples. And even though that this might not seem like a huge deal, in the step towards equality, it is, because civil union laws are not the same everywhere, and most don't offer the same benefits of marriage. There is a big gap between the two. Another part of the problem is religious groups. They seem to have a loud voice, even if their numbers are small. For example, most Christian arguments use the Old Testament, which I believe was fulfilled when Jesus died on the cross. So even though you can pull important lessons and some rules, such as the 10 Commandments, the Old Testament was fulfilled. Some of the rules that don't apply anymore, such as the pig is also unclean. Although it has a split hoof, it does not chew the cud. Leviticus 11:7. So does this mean we are not to eat bacon? No. Also, according to my pastor Stephen Collins, that with the change of the meaning of marriage is that what we would end up with is the government basically telling churches and other religious institutions what they are and are not allowed to believe in. But this wouldn't have to apply to all churches. Churches who didn't want to allow same-sex couples to marry wouldn't have to perform, because there are plenty of churches who do allow same-sex couples. All in all, the solution to allowing same-sex marriage is to get everybody to see it for what it is. Two consenting adults that want to get married. To solve the problem, which would be allow same-sex marriage in all 50 states, we need to get proactive in teaching people and be nice about it. Some people will not change their mind and will still oppose, but at least they will have been educated and can't just say, I just don't like it. Most people are just confused and don't know what to feel or think. So when we teach people and introduce them to everyday people who happen to be a homosexual, people begin to understand. People will argue that allowing same-sex marriage will change the definition of marriage, and that a marriage is only to be between a man and a woman. They will also argue that same-sex marriage will be taught in our schools. Some people go as far as to say that allowing same-sex couples to marry will later open the door to allowing polygamy and for adults to marry children. These statements are false. The meaning of words change all the time. Gay, which means to be happy, now means you're a homosexual. The definition hasn't changed in the dictionary, but we use the word differently today. And although, in Massachusetts, schools do teach gay marriage, this is just to allow children to understand why Jimmy might have two mommies. It doesn't necessarily mean that these children are being taught that it's right or wrong. We have a choice. The likelihood, and to deal with polygamy and the likes, the likelihood of these particular situations is little to none. We only start accepting this stuff like that when the community deems it acceptable. I don't know anybody who would allow an adult to marry a child, so the rebuttal for opposing same-sex marriage is weak. In a world where same-sex couples have the same rights as heterosexual couples, the world would pretty much be the same, wouldn't it? There wouldn't be anything different other than the simple fact that same-sex couples would be allowed to get married. They, of course, would get all the benefits of a marriage, but isn't that a good thing? In my opinion, wouldn't the economy go up? Weddings cost money. There'd be a surge in adoptions, which cost money, and this benefits children who are in the system. And there would probably be a divorce too, and divorces also cost money. So there really wouldn't be too much of a change, but a possible boost in economy. Therefore, we need to educate ourselves. We need to put ourselves in their shoes. How would you feel if you were often ostracized from the community? You certainly wouldn't like it, and neither do they. We need to inform people who oppose the same-sex marriage and educate them on facts and to take religion out of it. We are a nation of many religions, many races, and many sexual orientations. America is a melting pot, which is great. We just need to get everybody to see eye to eye. That way, we can be one step closer to equality, and for all mankind to live harmoniously.
Do we clap?
Are you happy now? I put the thing about the schools.
Yeah,
I had to ad-lib.
okay.